Hey guys, welcome to Lighthouse Tarot, where we embrace the light within ourselves and within others. I'm your host, Rachel Riley. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Stay a while if you want. If you are an old subscriber, thank you so much for all your support, for all your lovely comments, likes, and subscribing to my channel. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm push my videos right up to the top. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. So today I want to talk about signs you are a indigo child. So what is an indigo child? Like, what the heck are indigos? What are rainbow children? What are crystal children? So this all comes from the theory, which I don't really think is a theory. I believe this to be true. We are star seeds, and I know this to be true because there are science to back it up. There's a hypnotherapist named Dolores Cannon, and she interviewed hundreds of patients over 20 years, collected all that data, and wrote a book about it. And during hypnotherapy, when every one of her patients was in a hypnotic state, she asked, why are you here? Why are you on earth? What is your purpose? And they all said the same exact thing, no matter their age, no matter their race, no matter what country they were from. Every single person said the same thing. We were from another planet. During the time they were making the nuclear bombs in history, there was a message sent out from Earth to another planet. And that message said, hey, we're not doing so good on Earth right now. We're about to, destroy everything on here. They're making nuclear bombs. Please, anybody, if you can hear us, help us. And we as humans were already star seeds, on this planet. So we decided, okay, well, let's go help out Earth. I really like Earth. I vibe with it. That's a cool planet. Let's go help them out. And we reincarnated on Earth when we were, created babies, but we had amnesia. So we all forgot about it. But slowly our purpose is to remember, oh, we're star seeds. And that's not to say that you can use this as like, oh, I'm not human. I don't want to connect to humans. I want to just isolate myself. I don't want to, do what humans do. I don't want to talk to others, or saying that you're somehow better than others with the starseed thing. No, it's just an awareness like, hey, it's okay if you feel like you don't belong. There are factual studies saying that we are all star seeds and we all hold this within us. But the one I'm going to talk about today is indigo children. So the first sign you're an indigo child is you may have came from a dysfunctional family. And the reason that indigos come from a dysfunctional family, the reason that indigos reincarnate over and over, is because from that dysfunctional family, you realized at a young age that authority was being used incorrectly. You realized that perhaps even not in a judgment way, that you're certain like the family may have been brainwashed by society that like, why are we following these rules? Why is one way the other way? Why, like, maybe you were born in a time where there was no gender rights, so you spoke against that. You're like, I think that women should be equal. And then your family may have told you, no, that's just the way it is. And you may have been labeled very rebellious, very an instigator, very opinionated, right, growing up. So the first sign that you're an indigo child is you were born into a dysfunctional family. Now, not all indigos in this, but it's a very, very likely fact that you are an indigo, because you're going to learn at a young age, wow, like, power is being used. Unfortunately, a lot of people are putting on this facade of a perfect family, and I see this repeated through history with other people and as well as with myself. Number 2, the sign you are an indigo child is you are rebellious. You do not like to follow the rules, because you may find yourself asking growing up as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult, as even somebody in your late 20s, asking why. Okay, why is the system like this? Why do the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Why are people abusing their power? Why are there certain religious factors set up? And don't you see that certain people, maybe in Christianity, they're taking a specific scripture that might have been needing to be used metaphorically and using it literally in order to do whatever they want. And then not even just religion, even with politics, you see that there is, just as indigos, we see that everything like holds together. We see that politics is like, oh, it's like red versus blue. There's an elite power over all the politics, and I can get more into that with the facts, but you see it all and you wonder why other people don't see it, and you may be labeled as rebellious, and you may feel that. And which brings me to my third point, the sign you are an indigo child. You may have a lot of anger when you're growing up. You may have a lot of passion growing up because you see that the justice system has failed us. You see that the the checks and balance have failed us. You see that the politics have failed us. You see that families have failed us. You see that, society as a whole has failed, and you see everything that is incorrect with society. And do you know why? Because as an indigo, for your purpose as indigos, the indigo children, their purpose is to tear down the old things that are no longer working, that are outdated beliefs, outdated systems, so we can bring in the new. So in order to have that type of person, if you're an indigo, that means you have to be a very powerful, a very passionate, a very vocal, a very opinionated, a very tried and true standing. Like when I think of indigos, I think of Scorpios, I think of Aquariuses, I think of Leos, I think of fixed signs, right? When it comes to astrology, because if certain astrology placements, they're more like, oh, I don't know, they're like mutable. But fixed signs, try changing a fixed sign's mind. It is incredibly challenging, but that's what I feel for indigos. We have to be like that in order to tear down the old. You have to have a leader, you have to have a rebel, you have to have somebody that will lead others. And in order to be a leader, you have to have those strong opinions and the strong beliefs. Like, this is what I believe and I'm willing to die for it. And this is evidence that this is no longer working. This is evidence that women and men should be equal. This is evidence that racism it just doesn't make logical sense. Why do we have that? That needs to be gone. Why is that still even there? Why does that even exist in our world? As indigos, we may realize the school system, it's really just graded by the certain tests that they take, and then they get funding based by the tests. So most people don't even learn that way. Most people don't even learn, just writing. A lot of people are visual learners. They learn by hands-on. There's a lot of different learning. So why are we set to this one type of learning? Unless it has to do with money, unless it has to do with laziness, unless it has to do we're holding on to outdated beliefs. So if you're an indigo, you are going to be incredibly rebellious, but you are a rebel with a cause. So don't ever try to have anyone make you feel bad about it. Don't ever have somebody tell you have an attitude. Don't ever have anyone tell you that you're bossy and whatnot. You're an indigo. You were created. Your purpose and your mission in the world is to tear down the old. So you have to have these strong beliefs because you are a leader. Another sign that you are an indigo is you may feel like you don't really belong with other people, and also that you need a lot of alone time. You may be a lone wolf. You may have, a good friend group, a good support group, and people that are like you, that have strong opinions and views and esoteric knowledge and spiritual or astrologist or what have you. But as an indigo, you need that alone time so you can kind of think about all your ideas. You're like, okay, I want to change the world. I don't believe in these systems anymore. I believe we can make it better. We can make it more efficient. We can make everybody, win. Sorry, that's my girlfriend's cat. Hello, Greg. He gets so excited when I record. But anyway, back to that. So indigos, we need that alone time so we can kind of think about our mission, so we can realize, okay, so my mission is to create a school system that is not in the old way of doing things, where people that are visual learners, they have more accessibility, that people that want to learn about the law of attraction, how would we teach that? Would we do courses? Would we do it online? Would we have it face to face? Would we nominate certain people, mentors, life coaches? How would we do that? So if you're an indigo child, you need a lot of time alone in order to kind of process everything that you see, because you're very observant as an indigo child. You're seeing everything that's wrong with the world. You're seeing society, brainwashing. You're seeing subliminals. You're seeing politics. You're seeing things not working, like toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, a lot of people hurting, and you're kind of just taking it all in. And then you're like, okay, this needs to be taken away. Gregors, what are you doing? He was just jumping on my shoes like, I gotta get out of here. Anyway, so as an indigo child, Greg. So as an indigo child, you may feel like you need that alone time. You're also a lone wolf because you're a leader, so you got to realize, okay, this is what I need to do. I don't want to absorb everyone else's energy. I don't want anyone else's opinions on me. I need to go seek solitude so I can figure out what are my beliefs, what do I believe in, what do I stand for, and all the reasons why, and then hold it close to my chest and never give up on that, and be very strong in that fast belief. So another sign you're indigo child is you feel like you don't quite belong. You might have been, the weirdo when you were younger. You might have been told you had too much energy. You might have been told, wow, that's a really weird thought you just had. Why did you say that? You don't believe space is real, or you don't believe politics is even true, or you think religion is a sham. You might have been labeled weird, strange growing up, and kind of you have this homesick feeling. You have this feeling like, I really just want to go home. I don't know. And I'm not talking about your physical home, right? I'm not talking about, oh, I want to go back to my parents' house, or I want to go back to my apartment, back to my house. You feel like very connected to the stars, very like, wow, like my home, I don't know where my home is, but I just don't feel like I belong. Even if I go to a friend's house, even if I go to my partner's house, even if I go to my family, my old childhood home, I just don't belong anywhere. And it can be discouraging, but just know, if you're an indigo child, there's a lot of other indigos. I'm an indigo, so we're out here too, and we can connect, and we can talk about our mission and whatnot. But do know that is a sign you're an indigo. That's perfectly normal, and you can make your own home here, and you can connect with other people. You just have to find your soul tribe, right? Never give up. Always research, and know that you also have guardian angels and ancestors, and the universe is with you, so you are in fact never alone. Another sign you are indigo child, your style might be more alternative. You may dye your hair, you may have a lot of piercings, you may have a lot of tattoos, and you may like to stand out. And not to stand out in a way that you're like, everybody look at me, kind of like, I don't like what everyone's doing right now, like this. So you're like, oh, this is kind of basic. Everybody has this necklace. I don't want this anymore. So you might like vibe for something like a necklace that you found at Goodwill or a thrifting shop, or it's just very strange, very weird. You're like, I don't think anyone else has this. I want this. And you vibe with that. And you're also very alternative. You know, I find like as an indigo, I have a lot of passion, and I have kind of like a rebellious attitude where I'm like, oh, you shouldn't show too much skin. So I'm like, okay, well, I didn't want to before, but now I'm going to show more skin because this is my body, because I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. This isn't even real. Like this, I am a human, but I'm more than my outer appearance. I'm more than what I have to offer to the world. I'm more than just a body. I am a soul. I'm a spirit. I have beliefs. So I can do whatever I want with my body, and I'm going to stand out from society and do that, right? You may find yourself doing the opposite of what everyone does as an indigo, because you just know, you're like, yeah, I don't like society, and I'm going to take a personal stand first, and then I'm going to inspire others to do it, or vibe with other people who are, indigos. Another sign that you are an indigo child is you are very intuitive. You know what people are thinking. You can pick up on the energy of the room. You know when something bad is going to happen. You have premonitions. You know when something good is going to happen. You know what the right decision is to make if you spend time, going out and being quiet, meditating, talking to your spirit guides, talking to your angels. You may even have a certain goddess that you go to. You may have a starseed that you resonate with, like maybe the Palladians, maybe Lyrian, maybe the one with Atlantis. I'm not sure exactly the name, but there is one for Atlantis, and you may find yourself praying to that. Another sign, indigo, I'm just gonna keep going because I have so many, I've been wanting to do this video for so long. You may connect with space. You may love to look at the stars and look at the planets, and you feel most belonging, most at home when it's dark and you have a full sky full of stars, when you have planets, when you're looking at the moon, and you really like and vibe with music that is centered around, visual images. Like maybe there's one called Stardust by Jay Hardway, I believe, but I know it's called Stardust, and it's about a kid making his own spaceship and going off into the distance, and it shoots him off into space. So you might like stuff like that. You might like the movie Back to the Future, like anything to do with space and time and like planets. You're like, ooh, I like that. Not to say you're obsessed with it, like everything has to be planet, but you're really into that, and that's a sign you're indigo child. Another sign you're indigo child is you have this fearlessness about you, where most people don't want to rock the boat. Maybe most people, they're forced into religion. They're like, oh, I don't want to say anything against the youth pastor. You're going to be like, hey, It doesn't make sense for you to treat women less than men. Hey, you telling me that I need to change what I'm wearing? You know, actually in the scriptures it said if you look at a woman with unpure thoughts in your head, you need to go ahead and just pluck your eyeballs out. So don't tell me to change. Don't tell me to feel shame and feel like some kind of discredit towards my own body that was beautiful and pure when I was born into it. Instead, focus, you need to pluck your own eyes out. And you may say this straight to the youth pastor's face, or the pastor, or somebody who has this outdated belief towards you, because you're an indigo child. It doesn't make logical sense. It's an old belief system, so it's your job to tear it down. And you may be called as very strong. Your friends called you strong, courageous, fearless, and you kind of take it as your duty, as your mission. You're like, hey, no one else is going to stand up for this person, so I'm going to stand up for this person. Nobody else is going to defend these people that aren't here right now. Like maybe someone's making fun of someone for their race. I'm going to defend them. Maybe somebody is just saying something that's just untrue, is ignorant, is very closed-minded, and from a negative point of view, I'm going to combat that and say, hey, that's not true. Why are you saying that? Like, and then you ask a lot of why questions, like, okay, well, why do we have to go to college and spend all this money if we're not even certain on our career and we're still humans? And isn't that a little bit unfair to tell somebody when they turn 18 and your brain doesn't even finish developing fully to the point when you're 25 to make a decision they need to sit in a career for the rest of their entire life? That doesn't make logical sense. So if you're an indigo child, a lot of people may say, oh, they're like a problem child, they are a black sheep, they are rebellious, they have an attitude, but it's not true. It is true, but it's not those negative words. It's more, you are passionate, you are strong-willed, you're here to rock the boat, you're here to make a change, you're here to change the collective, you're here to change the world. You're the one on the front lines, just like in the army, they have certain people that are snipers, they have certain people in the helicopters above, then they have people in the very front line, and then they have the infantry, and then they have the cavalry, the people on the horses. You are the people not up on the helicopter, not the cavalry, you are the frontline people. So you're going to get everything on the front end, and you're protecting the rainbow children behind you and the crystal children behind you. So you're prepared for it. This means as an indigo child, another sign is you're very resilient, you are very steadfast, you are very strong, you are unbreakable, and you may have been through a lot of trauma in your life, you may have been through a lot of crazy circumstances, but this forces you to be an unmovable force, right? Like an oak tree. And you're standing in there and you're like, yeah, I'm unmovable, and I'm willing to do what it takes to make a better world for the people after me, to make a better world for the people now, to make a better world for, my siblings, my friends, the people I love and care about, for, any sons or daughters that I have, as an indigo. And another sign you're indigo is you stand for freedom. You're like, freedom. I believe we should all be free. I believe that we should have free choice, that we should be free to wear what we want, that we should be free to say what we want, that we should be free to have, identify with our own sexuality and feel okay with that, free to love who we want, free to work where we want, free to have our own business, free to be creative, free to express ourselves, free to just be strange, right? And free to recreate, to create a better system. So you may be incredibly intelligent as well as an indigo, because you have to be intelligent in order to first observe everything that's happening on the earth. Two, in order to take in all this information and kind of like process it and be like like a computer. And the third sign would be, as an indigo child, in order to create a new system. So you got to really like sit down with yourself and be like, okay, so if I were to create a new world, what kind of schools would I create? What kind of knowledge would I tell people? Would I tell people about the law of attraction? How can I do this in a more efficient way? How can I do this in a way that people will really reach a lot of people all at the same time? Or should I do it one-on-one? Should I create a movie? Should I, roll in a movie and show people the way, because that's what's popping in the world right now? But if I do it in a movie, kind of like The Secret, then everyone will pick up on it, and it'll be easier for us all to create our own reality and to vibe high. Yeah, so that's another sign you're indigo. You have extreme intelligence as well as intuition in order to do this. So I feel like that might be all. Just know that as an indigo child, please do not let anybody label you as as that, realize that they're just projecting their own feelings onto you. And if you ever just fully embrace this role, whenever I fully embrace my role as being authentic, like, okay, this is who I am now. I'm here to rock the boat. I'm here to say what needs to be said. I'm here to start controversy. I'm here to be like the first one. I'm here to be a trendsetter. I'm here to be strange. I'm here to be labeled weird. I'm here to say this esoteric knowledge. I'm here to, like, you know, go face to face with other people, not in an argument manner, but in a way that I'm very firm in my beliefs, that I stand up for myself and that I protect others. You know, I stand up for myself and I stand up for others. I'm here to spread knowledge, and I'm also here to show other people you're not alone, and there are other people like you, and you all have wonderful, amazing gifts. Even if you're not an indigo, if you're a starseed child, if you're a crystal child, if you don't even vibe with any of this, you're amazing just the way you are, and I vibe with you. So these are all the signs you're an indigo child. I know I went really fast because I got super excited about them, but let me know if you like these videos. I'm sure I missed a couple, so I can make a part 2 or part 3 of this series. Drop a purple heart if you're an indigo in here and share with me your experience, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. I love you guys so much. Goodbye.